Hi, Autogyro here. After an involuntarily long hiatus, I'm very happy to be back. More about that at the end of this video. A number of my friends bought Deep Rock Galactic now that Season 5 is out, and we're doing our best to get them to at least their first promotion so they can start collecting overclocks. Many of them asked me what class they should play, and it took me a while to come up with a succinct way of explaining all 4 classes. Many thanks to Milligan for long discussions about this subject, Olaf Forkbeard and his crew of Beck and Ganaxia, and my crew of Toastosaurus Rex, Nah, Pooch Barber, Meanest Monkey, and Ira, who have all talked with me as well. I'm gonna start with Gunner, because Gunner is the first class everyone gets introduced to in the tutorial, and most quickly relegate him to a bin marked slow and boring. For some, though, Gunner really clicks. He can not just hold an objective, but can anchor a push by the team. The combination of his shields plus wide effect grenades can clear any room you want to push into. And when everyone else has to reload, he just keeps firing. And if there's a big boy in the room, his secondaries can put a lot of damage into a single target. His zip lines allow everyone to get down a cave quickly without damage or up with loads. Zip lines can catch scouts falling from anywhere, and scouts can use their grapple from mid-cable. They're also good for letting gunners be fat scouts, able to get minerals in the ceiling of most caves. He's just slower doing that job, and zips are limited in number. Some gunners like using the zip line for a safe mid-air vantage over fights, and he shares those vantages with anyone on the team who cares to use them. With overclocks, Gunner's primaries only get stronger and become highly adaptable to your playstyle, and his secondaries become one-shot killers. He can make use of any mobility shortcuts drillers or engineers leave behind them. In the worst case, with creativity and a shield, he can use his pickaxe to get anywhere anyone else can. This is Doom Control with his partner in crime, Whirl. They did 7x2 hazard levels, and this is him as Gunner getting out of a very tight situation using that very tactic. They've always done the hard stuff and are now exploring the new Haz 5+, when they can actually hear the bugs. I linked both their YouTube channels in the description for this video. Gunner's mechanics are the easiest to learn, but his shields and lasting on-site damage can save a mission. It takes a while to get the experience needed to know exactly when to throw shields, and the hardest part with Gunner is getting into all those awful situations and realizing that what you do will make the difference that's needed to win. I love 4-Leaf Clover's long analysis of Gunner and his label of Gunner as the team's bodyguard. And Supernova has a comprehensive guide. Both are linked in the video description. Engineer's Rep is the class that outputs all the damage, steals everyone's kills, runs out of ammo, and goes down. Half his damage comes from turrets, and in the beginning he feels like he has a lot to juggle. However, if one is coming from TF2 or Overwatch, or other characters that have turrets to be placed and babied, his playstyle can be very familiar. A beginning engineer suffers from having almost nothing but short-range damage. Engineer is excellent at holding an area, but because so much damage is automated, they can't always focus on the enemies that target them, so they go down frequently. After getting the upgrade to their platforms that mitigates fall damage, Engineer can fall into caves very quickly, and can give the other classes an easy way down. This includes saving scouts from fall damage, not only by platforming what perches the scout needs to mine, but also by cushioning scouts from falls by putting platforms under them if they're caught in a high position. But Engi's platforms can allow him to go across caves with ease, as well as go up much more quickly than carefully placed staircases. He's well known for his castles of cheese that enable most defensible positions, blocking pathing for both Bugs and Molly, protecting Doretta, letting drillers drop C4s on the caretakers, and giving cover from all the spitters in the game. Most folks will say that Engineer is the class that can bring DPS to the table in any situation, but few agree on how it should be done, because Engineer, especially with all his overclocks, has so many options. The creative aspects only extend further in the late game. Engineer has the wildest set of weapons and overclocks of all the classes, so he can be played to fit any playstyle. Axis Chronos turns him into a super mobility class. Serven does amazingly imaginative things with him. Drilling in the Name of turns him into a holder of areas deeply mimics Driller's main job. And everyone's seen the dopamine hit that is Fat Boy. But all of Engineer's weapons are ammo hungry. So even more than all the other classes, you really have to be able to and willing to use everything you have. Driller's rep as a TF2 pyro wannabe isn't helped by the fact that his first weapon is a flamethrower. And in the beginning, he feels super short range, and all the other dwarves yell at him for friendly fire when he's just using his primary. The drills aren't obviously the most powerful tools he has, and C4s feel like nothing but a stupid way to kill your teammates. But that's because there aren't that many games where the terrain is created to be destroyed. Driller is the one class that can go anywhere on the map that isn't air. He's also the class which, with forethought, can do crowd control as a matter of course, along with smoothing terrain for his whole team. In Gaming Existence's video about team play, Driller stands out in his analysis as the only class that specializes in short to medium distance crowd clearing. But Driller isn't only good at killing all the small stuff. Really, every part of his kit is good for clearing the path for the whole team and creating defensible positions. Drilling in the Name of's discussion about bunkers highlights this particular style of play well and calls out the benefits and downfalls of bunkers. And his Driller content is exceptionally good in numbers, play examples, and builds for Driller. But in general, late-game Drillers understand that they can clear sightlines, make a position more defensible, and can always make things easier on their whole team by taking out terrain that's in the way. For Liquid Morkite missions, Drillers can almost always make a straight line path for any pipe. And any large gem is trivial to mine. When the name of the game is mining, Driller's arsenal is made to get everything out of the cave, on the ground, or in the air, be it by C4, pickaxe, drills, or EPC's thin containment field. And C4 is great at taking out lots of tough things quickly, be it taking out all the armor on the caretaker, all 3 protrusions on the hive guard, or the pillars that form between swarms during the core stone event. He's especially strong paired with Scout because their strengths complement each other, and they can match each other in speed to any point on the map. Bennycopter and Snoop showcase this duo teamwork especially well. For many people, Scout is defined by how much fun it is to use his grapple. I'm putting him last because I've seen people who start with Scout who don't go on to the other classes because playing without his traversal tool feels like giving up too much. So be careful if you start with Scout, because all the airspace is his to traverse as he desires, but the trick is figuring out where to land. The stereotype of all Scouts dying to fall damage is based on the fact that there's a lot of fall damage to be had. But the Scout is also best able to find red sugar everywhere and anywhere, in the cave, walls, and ceilings. Drilling in the Name of published a video with the work of Mus Nothus on Scout's mobility. I've linked it here and in the description, and that has a ton of references. I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to learn how to fly. Mid-tier Scouts realize that the DPS for the class is built around the fact that Scouts' mobility allows them to choose their fights. There's a ton of very specific analysis of Scout's weapon options. It's mostly high single target damage, and it takes mastering his mechanics to do crowd clear by maneuvering around your enemies. Scout's utility is also essential for helping the team out. Lights are always useful for the team to know what to be shooting, and Scout's grenades helps everyone out. High-end Scouts realize that they're particularly well suited for pushing the advancement of the mission at every point of the game. The speedrunning community considers Scout to be the strongest class. You can always make progress on the objective. As a solo player, it's particularly obvious. Axis Chronos' All the Enemies challenge showcases Scout's ability by himself to choose his fights. Bennycopter showcases his speedrunning possibilities and how Scout can, by himself, ignore nearly every fight and get the job done. There are plenty of pacifist runs by solo Scouts that show this ability as well. On teams, however, the Scout has a different set of priorities and needs. Gaming Existence has a comprehensive guide on how to play Scout, and he gathered that data from a lot of high-level Scouts. But a Scout with a team has to be careful to keep the team supplied with nitro, to not die alone in hard-to-reach spots, or only do it with his pockets full, and to not leave all the bugs for everyone else to deal with. I do believe that Scout has the highest mechanical skill ceiling, and watching a Scout who knows their tools is absolutely amazing. So, in a nutshell, if you love being able to fire long after everyone else has run out of bullets, and love being the one person who can clutch the game, be the gunner. If you like being creative and juggling lots of different sources of damage and types of tools, play the engineer. If you look at terrain and know how you'd modify it to make the fight easier for everyone, be the driller. And if you want to pick your fights and always progress the mission, Scout is for you. As you can see through all the footage, I play all the classes evenly. Unlike most people, I haven't taken a single class to Legendary and then gone back to fill in the rest. I really do love something about all of them, and pick different classes for different moods, missions, modifiers, and to fit into whatever team gathers. I loved running Driller on my speedruns with Olaf. I play Scout when no one else wants him, so it's a rare treat. I originally did Gunner just because no one else wanted him, but now the most competitive guy in my group has decided Gunner is just the thing for him. So each class satisfies different people at different times. One funny thing is that because I refused to pick or tier the classes, Milligan and I started to talk about why I said that tier lists were useless in my Overclocked Slump video. And it started a whole train of thoughts that are going to end up becoming something fun. The update about my medical stuff is that I dislocated my left shoulder playing too much at the beginning of the year. And I also developed bursitis in my right hip from doing construction, hiking through the Canyonlands, and changing to all my summer pastimes a little too quickly without working out enough. So, I'm going to the gym. As Royal says, getting swole, doing my PT, core work, downing protein after workouts, and getting too well acquainted with my ice packs. But the doctor says I can play as much as I like so long as I stretch every 20 minutes, and as I gradually work into that, it seems to be working out well. I've been playing a good deal of Season 5. I don't know if I'll go into play guides for the new missions, as I have seen a few out there, and Lazy Maybe's done his usual detailed indexing of what the new overclocks do, which I appreciated a great deal. There's been a burst of content from the new season, and it'll actually be fun to go back into the old seasons to give impressions about those when I'm done with Season 5. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something with me, and maybe I'll see you down on Hoxus. Autogyro, out.